Okay, Britt, I think you have to unmute yourself because I'm trying to do that and it's not letting me.
Got it. I'm here.
I can't hear you. Oh, okay, now I can. My volume wasn't up. How are you?
How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for hopping on.
No, thanks for having me. I'm
Oh,
excited.
yes, super excited. Okay, we are recording. So, Brittany, if you could just tell us a little bit about your story, why you got started, how long you've been in the business, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Brittani Hayes, and I've been in the business for almost 2.5 years. And I joined after watching Claire Flores, my enroller, on Facebook for I think about 11 months. And I actually was her customer. I signed up, I guess, about 2 weeks into her journey for hair, skin, and nails. I had never heard of ItWorks before, but I just started seeing her post about it, and she was so consistent, posting all the time, blowing up Facebook every day. And I kept seeing these pictures of hair, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to try this. And so I used it. My hair grew 4 inches in 2 months. I was like, oh my gosh, if this works, like, what else do they have? So I kept my auto shipment on that whole time. And then finally, after watching her for 11 months, like in that time, I watched her retire her husband, Brian. I watched her, promote to triple diamond and start earning a 6-figure income. And I was like, okay, like, I've got to do this too. And I had thought about it so much during the time I had watched her, but I just kept talking myself out of it and just kept kind of like telling myself like, oh no, that might not work for me. Like, people won't like me as much as they like her. And I just let fear just really get in the way. But when I finally joined, we had just had our 4th baby. I actually have 5 kids now, 9 and under. But at the time, I just had my 4th baby, and my oldest was 6. I was taking care of my grandpa full time. Money was tighter than tight. My husband was working 2 jobs so I could stay home with the kids. And I mean, we were just like in debt up to our eyeballs and could just barely make ends meet. There was just way too much way too much month left over at the end of our paycheck to get through. And so I was crying out to God for a solution. And I just felt like he so clearly said to me in that moment, Brittany, the answer's been right in front of you all along. Just trust me and just do it. And so I literally texted her out of the blue. We had never spoken about the business before. She had no clue I was interested. I just texted her out of the blue and was like, hey, I want to join your team. What do I do? And she walked me through it. And I mean, I didn't question anything. Like, she was like, you need to set up an 80 BB auto shipment. I was like, I don't know what that is, but done. And that was it. Like, I was one of those people that when I was ready, I was ready. And I've literally from day one done everything that she told me to do. So flash forward, 7 months in, I was making more than my husband Zach was at his 2 jobs. And so we made the decision to just retire him and go ahead and bring him home and put our heads together and just really propel this forward even faster. By 10 months into the business, we started earning a 6-figure income and started having those 5-figure monthly paychecks. And then by our 1-year anniversary, we had promoted to triple diamond. He was double, earned over $130,000 in bonuses, moved our family to the beach, put our kids in private school. Like, it just literally changed every aspect of our life. And then now here we are 2 years later, just went Prez last month and Zach just went triple. And I just shudder to think like where I would be right now if I would have continued to give in fear the victory, for all those months I was watching Claire. So that's my story.
Oh my gosh. First of all, congratulations on promoting to Prez.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It feels amazing. I've got to tell you, like, whenever I went triple last summer, I had every intention to go Prez by the fall. And I had a lot of things that had happened in my business. I had 2 diamonds that quit back to back. And I had a lot of just stuff that I never foresaw happening. And I definitely never thought it was going to take me almost a year and a half to promote from triple to Prez. But, we still did it. And so that's what I always love to share with people is that, no matter what hurdles come your way, if you are 100% set on the fact that it's going to happen and that God didn't bring you this far to only bring you this far, you will hit it. And it's going to just be the most amazing feeling in the world.
Wow, that's so incredible. So I love that you shared that it hasn't always been like an uphill, because I've been following you for a while and I'm like, this girl is either just really determined or everything's just going her way. Like, what is happening? So do you feel like your journey from your perspective has been all uphill, or like, what do you feel? Are you just a super determined person? Like, Prez in 2 years, that's really impressive. I'm 2 years in and I'm a double, and just thinking like about presidential right now gives me chills. So are you just like a very determined person? Like, what sets you apart from other people who haven't gone Prez 2 years in?
So I definitely haven't always had just a super strong start or anything like that. In fact, I actually, this may shock some of you guys, but I actually had a really slow start. When I joined, it took me a little over 4 months to go Ruby, about 4.5 months to go Ruby. And I saw everyone left and right on Claire's team going Ruby in like a month, 2 months, and they were getting that $500 Ruby bonus for going Ruby in their first 2 calendar months. And I honestly, I know this sounds bad, but I'm just going to say it transparently. I felt like I was a harder worker than them. I was like, what the heck? Like, I know I work harder than some of these people. Like, why am I not Ruby yet? But at the end of the day, I had to just hold on to that promise that if God called me to this, he is not a finicky God. He's not someone that calls you to something and then is like, oh, never mind. Like, he's going to see you through it. And sometimes there's tests involved, and sometimes he's really wanting you to put your faith where your talk is. And he's like, okay, you say that you trust me, you say that you have faith, but do you really? And in those moments, I knew that I couldn't get caught up looking left and right and looking at how fast other people were going. Like, I had to really hold true to my faith, and I had to believe, okay, if it worked for Claire, it'll work for me. I'm a hard worker. I'm willing to learn. So I've just got to have that attitude, and it's going to happen. And so, yes, I had that slow start, and I like literally, I mean, it took me way longer to go Ruby than the people that joined the same month as me. But then I was Diamond in 7 months, and double 2 months later, and Zach was double the next month. And so once it started happening, it started snowballing pretty quickly. But then we hit that hurdle after going triple. I was on such a high after going triple, and thought for sure, oh, I'm going to go Prez in 2 more months, you know, and then I had 2 diamonds quit. And so it definitely hasn't always been easy. But again, when I had that happen last summer, that definitely was not something I ever foresaw coming. And that's not anything that's fun for anyone to deal with. It's not fun when you're a Ruby and a distributor quits. It's not fun when you're a double diamond and a Ruby quits. And it's not fun when you're a triple diamond and a diamond quits. Like, those are things that never just get easy. But in those moments, I was like, okay, like, he gives and he takes away. And if he took away, that means he has something so much better. And I shared this story with some of my leaders the other day, but like, if those diamonds would have still been here, those would have been key people I would have worked with towards going Prez. And because they left, obviously I ended up working with someone else, but the people that God brought me after they left are like the most rock solid people that truthfully are way more solid than those people that left were. And they're people that my organization is so strong today because he brought those people in. And if those other 2 would have stayed, I probably never would have had like my eyes open for those people. And even if they joined, I probably would have like put them some random spot on my chart. But when they joined, I was like, oh my goodness, this is who God has brought me. Like, I've prayed for people to replace person A and person B, like, and he's brought them. And I know that might not make sense to a lot of people, especially if you're brand new, you're like, I don't really understand what you're talking about. But like, it's something that, like, for me, I see so clearly now in hindsight. Like, he was like, no, just hold on. I know you'd like to go Prez in 2 months, but like, this isn't the best thing for your organization right now. Like, I'm going to bring you leaders that are unshakable and unwavering in their faith, that are going to make your organization so much stronger. It's going to be worth the wait.
Oh, I love that. And I can totally relate. When I was going double, I tell you, I had like 15 double charts. I'm like, is this ever going to happen? And I had 2 emeralds quit. Just when I thought, I'm like, okay, this is the month I'm going double. An emerald quit. Next month, same thing. I'm like, what is happening? And then a couple months after that, my runners now are like, I'm going to take them, we're going to go triple, like with the people that God brought into my business. So it's just crazy how that happens. Like, yeah, I can totally relate. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions that I got from my team, just general questions. How many messages do you send out a day?
So I actually don't do any kind of messaging. I never have. I've always practiced just like strong attraction marketing. And I max grow my network. And so that always shocks people when I say that, but I've literally never cold messaged in my life. The month I went Ruby and the month I went Diamond, I did some like warm messaging where I reached out to like people I went to college with, people I went to high school with, people I used to go to church with, used to work with, whoever. So people I did know in real life. And I just said something along the lines of like, you know, hey, I don't know if you've ever taken a look at my page and seen what I do, but I am up for a huge promotion this month and I'm looking for some new product testers. And I thought you would be a great person to ask, you know, would you be open to me sending you some info? And the month I went Ruby and the month I went Diamond, I probably sent like about 50 of those out. And I would say like 20 of the people responded favorably. And then the other 30 just like completely ignored me. But the 30 each time later, like months down the road, just like came out of nowhere and were like, hey, never saw the message. Like, like you never saw the message. But is that offer still on the table? I've seen you post about hair. Like, I'm interested. So it was definitely seeds that were still planted even so. But how I've always built my business is just being just a super, super consistent poster. And I've really tried to like study just I don't want to call it a trade because it's not the trade, but like just be like, just constantly growing as far as getting better with my pictures and stuff like that. So that's something that like early on I was like, okay, if I can heavily brand myself on social media and be someone that like people like is a light in people's news feeds and people like someone that people smile when they see my stuff and be someone that like changes what people think about network marketing because I'm not being spammy, but I'm just being real. I was like, I can really like take this somewhere. And so that was kind of my mindset from day one was I wanted to be like set apart. And so I just decided like, okay, I'm just gonna get better and better at this every day. But what I always tell people is that this only works if you are 1000% mass adding to your network every single day because you could be the most prettiest picture taker in the world, but if you're only marketing to like 100 Facebook friends, it's not going to do anything. So, I mean, I'm almost maxed out of my Facebook friends. I'm at like 4,900. And Instagram, when I got started, I had literally 200 followers and now I have almost 8,000. And truthfully, I should have more than that because there's been, you know, periods of time where I haven't added as faithfully as I should. But my point is that I started with nothing and I've grown that to this because it just kind of clicked in my mind, like with things Claire was telling me when I started, was like, if I just can reach a mass amount of people, like there's always people out there that are interested. I just got to find them. And so that's kind of how I've always been. I've always really sought to be like the hunted, not the hunter, if that makes sense. But it takes work, like establishing that trust with your audience.
Yeah. And delivering quality.
Yes.
Like quality posts and really figuring out what the people that are following you, like what they're, like how you're going to attract those people particularly. Okay. So when you're mass adding, how many people are you adding like on Facebook and Instagram?
So Facebook, I add like anywhere from like 20 to 40 a day. Obviously I have to put out a little bit because I'm about maxed out. But in the beginning, what I would do is I would go to like a guy that I went to high school with or a guy I went to college with because guys just statistically have a lot of girlfriends. And I actually think I first heard this tip from Kelsey. I'm pretty sure I heard her say that on a Zoom when I was like brand new. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. Like I have a couple guys in my mind right now. And so I would just go to their Facebooks and I would go to their friends list and I would add every single girl that I had at least 3 mutual friends with. And that was golden for me. So many of the rock stars on my team today, that is exactly how I added them. So that's what I did on Facebook. And that's, I mean, super simple. And like some guys like have like 4,000 friends and they were like 3,900 were girls. So I would just go to their page every day and add like 20 to 40 girls. And that kept me busy for a while and it was simple. And it just became like an easy part of my routine first thing in the morning doing that. And then for Instagram, I do that at night and every night, non-negotiable. It doesn't matter if I'm up till 2 in the morning, like before my head hits the pillow, I will sit there and just grow as many as Instagram will let me add, which is about 200 right now. And then if I can squeeze a second adding sesh earlier in the day, I will. So like right now I'm nursing a 7-month-old. So like when I'm sitting nursing her, you know, I'll just add 200 people on Instagram. Instagram lets you do 200 an hour. And so if you can, like I said, do it in the middle of the day and then do it again every night, I mean, that's 400 people a day. A portion of them are going to follow you back. And it's going to take time. You're not just going to wake up from 200 followers to 8,000, but like over time, the compound effect, you know, kicks in and you do all of a sudden have this big audience that's seeing your stuff every day. So yeah, that's basically all that's how I've added people.
That's why I'm getting blocked. Instagram lately is blocking me when I'm adding people, and even I'll get on Captivate and do it. Like, why is Instagram's never blocked me? And I think it's because I am doing over 200 in one setting. So it's 200 per hour.
Yeah, 200 per hour, and don't use Captivate anymore because Instagram actually came out and said Captivate and cleaner users, they're lowering their visibility in the algorithm because they know that it's like an automatic app that will do stuff for you. And so they're trying to force people to do things organically. So they're basically punishing accounts that use those 2 apps. So yeah, don't use those anymore. What I do is I just use followers, which you have to manually unfollow, but it'll tell you who's not following you back. It just looks like, let me lower my, can you see this apple right here? That's what it looks like.
Oh, okay. I have followers, but it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, there's like a few different ones, but this one basically, I just like, I don't know, like every 3 or 4 days, I'll go in there and unfollow like 200 people that aren't following me back. And that's all that I do for unfollow. You have to actually click on them, but I mean, you do it from the app. It's easy. But see, like Captivate, because it's automatic, Instagram doesn't like that. They're trying to force people to do things like themselves. So
I literally use both of those. So I know there's a reason I asked you to be on this Zoom. Like, you're saving my butt right now. Oh, okay. So daily routine, what does that look like with you with 5 kids? I understand some of your kids are older, so they're probably in school. So what does a day in the life of Brittani look like?
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys like what I did when I first started before my husband came home, because I always feel like that's useful knowledge, but then I'll also share kind of how that looks now. Whenever I first started and he was gone, I mean, my husband was working 2 jobs, so he literally came home in between the 2 jobs for like an hour, and that's it. And so life was insane. And only my oldest was in school at that time. So what I would do is I would wake up in the morning, like get the kids situated with breakfast, and then I would immediately put a training on the TV. I had a YouTube on my TV. And so I would go to like, Erin Tweed's YouTube or Alyssa's YouTube or Tiffany hers. Like I would just go to an ambassador's YouTube channel and just hit start and just let it play through. And so while I was nursing my baby, taking care of my kids, like I just had trainings on all day. I literally did not watch TV like the first 7 months of my business or more, because I just was like trying to learn everything that I could. And that's something that if you're a stay-at-home mom, like anyone can do this. Like you can literally switch that one switch in your routine, and it makes all the difference, because even if you're busy and you're so scattered with your kids, you're going to be hearing tips. Like I can literally remember things I heard Erin say or Alyssa say or Tiffany say that I'm like, okay, that's good. Like I can do that. That's a simple thing to implement. So that's what I would do. And then I would add Facebook friends every morning when I was nursing my baby. Make an inspirational post. That was something I could get up pretty quick. Usually something I would hear through self-development. I would just throw up real quick on my Facebook. And then I would do it before and after, around lunchtime every day. Make sure I was engaging with my network. Again, while I was nursing my baby, usually just like and comment on people's stuff. And then I would do the Instagram friends at night, like follow people on Instagram every night. And then I'm trying to think what else I'm forgetting. And then as I started getting people to follow up with, as I started getting interest, I was writing everybody down and then following up with everybody on Friday. So that Friday was my big follow-up day. I'm paperless now. I have everything in my iPad Pro, but before I had a planner that I had everyone written in, and I would just go through and highlight them as they signed. So it kind of became this like fun thing on Fridays. Like I would go through and follow up with everybody, and then as people were signing, I was highlighting them. And it was like this like thing, like, okay, I'm gonna get every name highlighted. And so I feel like I'm forgetting something, but that's the main thing, is like just engage with my network, grow my network, post 3 to 6 times a day, do self-development. And then, I mean, like, as I started signing team members, just checking in with them and just, making sure they felt very equipped and like they have what they needed from me. So just your typical like 6 list things are what I do, nothing crazy. I just make sure I'm super consistent with it. And then like, to me, I always tell people those things are like brushing my teeth to me. Like they're completely non-negotiable. So it doesn't matter if it's like the most insane day ever. You'll never catch me like not engaging with my network for at least 10, 15 minutes, not adding some friends, not posting. Because in my mind, I'm like, this is like, I would not brush my teeth one day, no matter how crazy it is. So like, I can't not do these things. And I think that's where like the magic really happens, because it's easy to say you have a 6 list, but it's another thing to treat it like that, to where you never go a day without doing it. And when you do those things every single day, that's where you just really see your results compounding. Also, the one thing that I started doing probably around the time I was an executive, I've done it on, is I heard Mike Patillo say this on a family call. He said like the concept of just one more, or like the extra 3% every day. And basically what that means is just every night before bed, like when you're about to call it quits, you're like, okay, I've done enough today. I'm going to call it a night. You do just one more. You do an extra 3%. So it might be just one more round of messaging. It might be just one more post. It might be just one more round of adding people. But it's like pushing yourself that one extra that one little bit of extra step every single evening. And that isn't a big deal that one day, but after, a week, after a month, like you've actually done a lot of extra work. And that's one thing that I started implementing that has definitely been huge for me too, because it's just kind of like, it just keeps you more self-disciplined, if that makes sense. Always pushing yourself just a little bit further.
Yeah, I love that, the just one more. And one thing you said about the consistency, obviously we preach that consistency is key. But I was at Kelsey's, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and I said, what do you think sets Erin apart from the rest? Like Erin's like top 10, or she's like 5 or something crazy. And Kelsey was like, she is so consistent. Like, she does not miss a day of anything. Like, you know how we have days, which sometimes you have days where you're just like, oh man, I didn't get enough messages out, or I did that, or whatever it may be. The kids were crazy. She said Erin does not like let that slip up. And it sounds like you too. Like, this is why you're at Pres and I'm still at Double, because you have 5 kids and you're out there killing it. So I guess my next question to you is, what do you say to people who are like, I'm too busy, like I can't do it, I have a kid or 2 kids? Like, what do you say to those people?
Yeah. So do you mean people like potentials I'm talking to, or people on my team?
I think on your team. Let's go with that.
Okay, so people that are on my team, I mean, I will always be super loving in the way that I say it, but I also am a big believer that you have to speak truth to your team. Like, what good does it do? You're not a good friend if you just tell someone what they want to hear. And that's not how we grow, just by hearing what we want to hear. So I'll just tell people, like, girl, like, I understand, but here's the thing, like, we're all busy and you're never going to not be busy. There's never going to be this perfect time where you have all this time in the world. And I'll just get really real with him. I'm like, when I started, like, I was taking care of my grandpa. He just had a stroke. Like, I was literally helping feed him, helping bathe him. And I had 4 kids, 6 and under. Like, life was insane. But in that moment, I knew that I did not want to stay in that position of like being so stressed to the max all the time, losing sleep over money anymore. And so it was worth it to just throw something else in the mix that could potentially free up my time and give me more options. And I mean, it did. 7 months in, when my husband came home, he was able to help me with my grandpa. And he and my like, he became closer with my grandpa than he was with his own grandparents, because he literally, like, I got to kind of take a step back and just give my baby more attention than I had, because like, he was, you know, when he was born, it was crazy. My husband wasn't there and I was caring for my papa. So like, my husband got to really like be more hands-on with my papa, which allowed me to give my baby more time. And I mean, this business just, it changed everything for us. And so I tell people, like, I shudder to think what our life would be like now if I would have entertained too busy, because I definitely could have. And then I just remind people, like, you joined because you weren't happy with your life. So if you just give in to being too busy, where are you going to be? Like, you're going to still find yourself a year from now not happy with your life, because it's not going to change on its own. You're not going to wake up one day less busy, money's better. You know what I mean? That just doesn't happen. And then I also lastly remind people that, like, God's not the God of handouts. Like, he often requires a lot of us before he gives us what we're asking. But he will give us what we're asking, but we have to give him something to bless, and he can't bless what you won't do. And so if you're sitting back saying you're too busy, there's someone out there way busier than you getting stuff done, and they're being immeasurably blessed because of their efforts. And like, that can be you too, but you've got to just be willing to do it and get through this season. And what I'll tell you is, people have to be ready to receive that. Like, I've had people that I've said that to that break down and cry, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so right. I don't want to stay here any longer. Okay, don't ever let me say this again. Like, help me get a good routine. Like, what do I need to do? And then I've had people that have listened and been ice cold, and they're like, you just don't understand. I'm way busier than you ever were. And I'm like, okay, like, I'll be here when you're ready. So it's one of those things, like, you have to be willing to hear the truth. Like, I can speak it all day long, but you got to be willing to take it. And that's one thing that I've come to realize in the business, is that you cannot pull someone along. You can't motivate anybody. Like, you can only inspire them. But at the Global Leadership Summit I was at, and Kelsey may have shared this with you because I know she was at it too, they shared something. They said, in the Greek word for inspire is thespio, and it actually means to pull out, and motivation basically means to push. And they were like, basically explaining that's why you can't motivate someone. If you're trying to motivate someone, you're pushing them, you're forcing them to do something that they really don't even want to do. But when you inspire someone, like, you're pulling something out of their spirit that's already deep in there. They maybe need someone to help them pull it out, but like, it's in there. And so ultimately, like, it has to come from within. They have to want to do it. And then if they want to do it, like, they're going to follow you. But if they're not following you, it's because they don't want it. And there's nothing you can do to change that other than just continue to pray for them and set a good example.
Yeah, that motivation thing and the inspire, is that in the Miracle Morning? I was listening to something yesterday and they were saying that. It might be in that book. But what you were saying about like, are people ready to hear what you have to say? Pam was at Alyssa Beaulieu's leadership retreat in Indy like 2 months ago. And she said when people are coming to her complaining because someone asked this question, Pam was like, here's what she does. She says, okay, what are you going to do about it? Or are you ready to do something about it? And if they keep complaining, they're continuing down the path of complaining. She says they're not ready. They're not ready to they're not ready for your advice, or like you just said, what you were going to tell them. So I love that. Like, I do that all the time now. If I'm like, okay, are you ready to do something about it? and they say yes, then I go into the spiel of, you know, we're all busy, but you joined for a reason. So yeah, I love that. And Pam is just incredible to be around. So, okay, couple more questions. What did you do last month to get 40 distributors and 60 customers? Were you hosting like what were you doing?
So my usual numbers for distributors and customers are about like 20 to 30 customers a month, and then usually about like 10 to 15 distributors. I've had 1 month before that I like had 38 distributors, but that was last summer. That was actually the month I went triple. And so I had never done that again. Usually I'm about 10, 15, and then 20, 30 LCs. But when I woke up beginning in November, I decided I was absolutely not going to sit triple any longer. Like I was not going to miss the mark this month because I'd come really close the last 2 months. And I was like, I'm not going to barely miss it this month. Like I'm going to take massive action. And I literally fell on my knees and I was like, Lord, like I will do everything I need to do. I was like, all I ask of you is that you rain down so much blessing that realistically in my humanly flesh, like I wouldn't even want it because I couldn't even handle it. But then I want you to please give me your supernatural strength and equip me to handle it in only way that I could with your strength. And I was like, and I promise in return, I will give you everything. I'll be the leader worthy of leading all these people you send me. I will sacrifice, like I'll do whatever. And so this month, like I was up to like 3 or 4 in the morning every morning. I was so tired. And I literally just committed, like if I had a newbie, if I signed somebody and they messaged me and they had people asking them questions on their first post and I was in the middle of eating my dinner, I was going to stop and message them. Like I was going to truly be as selfless as I possibly could be. And I mean, I like to think of myself as someone who's always a good leader and puts myself last. But I mean, if I'm eating dinner, like I'll answer you in 20 minutes. But this month I was like on top of it. Like if they were asking, like they got my full attention. And so that being said, I was doing host to post. Host to post was like a huge supplement for me this past month. I would say about like 20 of my customers came from just like people seeing my before and afters on my page. And then the other 40 were host to post. And then of my 40 distributors, I would say probably 35 came from host to post. And then only 5 were like people that came from my post. I guess maybe like 7 or 8 came from my post and then the others were host to post. But I was doing business host to post. And the people that were seeing the business host to post, they were like signing that day. Like they would comment, I would message them, they'd ask me how much it was to start, and then we would get them going like right that second. But I voice messaged to seal the deal with everybody. And I made everything sound very urgent. I'm a big believer, and I know like obviously Alyssa, you know this, but I want to share this with the team. Like I will never answer a question that wasn't asked. A confused mind will always say no. And so I think like where a lot of people lose distributors is just feeling the need to say too much. When I'm giving that initial info, I'm not saying the company name. I'm not saying what kind of products we have. I'm not saying it's $99 to start or 20 with a coupon code. I'm not saying any of that. Like literally, I just tell my story. And then I just am just super excited about like what it's done for my life and that I know they'd be so amazing at it. I'd love to help them too. So my like key points I say is just that we work completely off social media, completely off our smartphone. All we do is just post about the products our company offers, post about the business opportunity, interact with who's interested. We provide all the training, everything you need. Our team's like one big family. I know you'd love it. What questions do you have for me? Like that's literally after I tell my story, that's all that I say. And it's just super exciting, super fast paced. And then they come back with a few questions. I answer them, we get them going. I'm a big, also a big believer in like any objection that's thrown at you, you can overcome, but you have to 100% be willing to overcome it and take the time to like pull yourself together and overcome it. So like, I wanted to tell this story real quick and then I'll go back to the distributors if you have questions. But, I signed a customer from host to post last month for hair, skin, nails. And whenever I sent her my pricing wording or whatever, she responded and was like, no thanks, thought it was free samples, not interested. Like very curt, very rude kind of. And I, like most people would have probably just been like, oh, okay, thanks. Or like just not said anything at all. But I just took a deep breath and I was like, she's going to sign some customer. Like, this is ridiculous. Hair, skin, nails is amazing. $1 a day to have good hair. Like, come on. So I just voice messaged her and I was like, hey girl, I was like, I'm so sorry that you misunderstood. I was like, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Even if I were to give you like a couple days of samples of hair, skin, nails, like it wouldn't do anything. Like you need to take it for an extended amount of time to really see results. I was like, but I can tell you I had horrible, overly dry, damaged process hair before I took it. And I would pay that $33 and so much more over and over again to have like the health of my hair that I have now. I was like, so if you're not interested, that's totally fine. But you know, if you change your mind, I'll be here to help you. And I just was so positive and like had this huge smile on my face, even though I was frustrated when I voice messaged her. She responded back like 4 hours later and was like, okay, ... My hair is super dry and damaged. she was like, all right, what the heck? I guess I'll order some. And so I shared that with my team to say, like, yes, that's not always going to happen, but it just goes to show you, if you cower away in defeat when you get an objection, like, you could literally be losing someone that was one voice message away from coming back to you. So that's one thing that I've learned over the past, I've learned it over the past 2 years in the business, but especially over the past 6 months, that every single objection can be overcome, but you have to be willing to overcome it. And I love what Grant Cardone says in his book, The Closer's Survival Guide. He says, if you don't close it, someone else will. So it's your choice. Like, you close it, or they're going to run into someone else that's more confident than you that's going to close it. So what's it going to be? Like, why not you just go ahead and close it? You're talking to them now, just do it. And that really convicted me, because I was like, okay, like, don't be a baby, Brittani. Like, if someone says something that frustrates you, just like take a deep breath and voice message them and handle it. And that was golden for me. I had people that signed as distributors that were like, no thanks, like, I'm not interested in selling stuff. And I would voice message them and be like, oh my gosh, girl, I've never once felt like this is selling. Like, this is social media marketing. Like, I don't carry inventory. The company does all the legwork. They handle all the orders. I just literally post, talk to people, help them get the orders in, and get paid a lucrative income for it. It's amazing. It's the furthest thing from selling. And they would come back and they're like, that sounds amazing. Let me sign up. And like, there's a couple girls that literally said to me this past month, no thanks, I'm not interested in anything sales, that I said that to, signed up, are killing it. Like, I had one girl that said that she went Ruby last month in like 2 weeks. So you just never know. And when you freak out because someone gave you like a little bitty objection, if you just walk away, you could be walking away from your next 2-week Ruby.
Wow. I'm mind blown, because I get like that. When people say that crap to me, it gets under my skin. I'm like, okay, fine, but you just have to kill them with kindness. Like, that's so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the people you were signing, you said you're doing a business host to post. What did that look like for you?
So I just made my own graphic. I got a picture of like a lot of us from like our Diamond and Above retreat we had a couple months ago. But you can use any picture. If you don't have a picture of you and your teammates, you can get a picture from Pinterest. But I get a picture and I make it an over, and I just basically write on it really pretty, now hiring social media influencers, earn commissions plus bonuses, all off your smartphone. And then at the bottom, I put text opportunity too, and I give my number. And then in the post, it just says like, my friend Brittani is looking for some people who want to earn an income from home. Comment an emoji if you'd be interested. It's super vague. Some people comment an emoji, and then some people actually just texted me opportunity. Like, I did so many business host to post this last month, and my phone was blowing up with opportunity. And I was like immediately like searching the number on Facebook, and sure enough, it was like someone that was mutual friends with who just posted for me. So some people are more comfortable just texting you, and some people are more comfortable dropping the emoji. So that's why I do both, because I feel like you're just going to hit all angles with that. But yeah, that's all that I did. And then as people commented, I sent them a message, or I added them as a friend first. I don't message anyone until they accept my friend request. My thought on that is, number one, I don't want to waste my time at going to filtered requests. But number two, if they're not willing to accept, because I had someone ask me this, they're like, what if they don't accept your request? If they're not willing to accept my request, how are we going to do business together? Like, if they're seriously interested, they're going to accept your friend request. So I send them a friend request and say, adding you and messaging you. I wait till I get a notification they accept me, and then I immediately message them and say, hey, I saw your comment on Alyssa's post. I'm sending you a voice message. And then I had one voice message that I forwarded 1 million times. So I wasn't having a voice message all day. I had one really good one that I liked, and then every time I was doing that, I would just forward it. And that's it. And my voice message was what I shared with you before, like a few minutes ago, just telling my story, and then that like simple blurb. And then I always end with, what questions do you have for me?
I love that. Kelsey shared it with us, the voice message that you sent. I don't know where she got it. Maybe she got it from you, but she sent it to us. So I'm definitely going to go back and come up with my own that sounds like that, because I don't think to do business host to post, because I don't know, because those are people who are clearly interested in earning an extra income. So are you finding that, I know they signed last month, the 40 people. What's the percentage of the people that are sticking with it and actually working the business?
I honestly only had like 3 people last month that did never get started. Almost all of them did. And I was telling my husband, Zach, I was like, this is crazy, because like some of my potentials who have followed me for like a year, some of them will sign and be amazing. But then some of them sign and like, don't ever get started. And I'm like, what the heck? You have followed me for so long. Like, why are you still holding back? But these people, they did not know me, hadn't followed me, their only interaction with me was those few voice messages back and forth. And then they got started and were like so excited. And so I think like it just kind of goes back to, you hear people say all the time, and sometimes it's a different context than this, but I think it still applies, like the concept of just needing that new blood. I think if you're getting frustrated with your old potentials that you've been following up with for so long, they're just dragging their feet, you're offering them a $20 code, they're still not getting started, then the best thing you can do is get new potentials. And so host to post is so huge for that. I'm very choosy with who I will let do a business host to post for me. I do want to say that if the person who's posting is a very negative person, they're that person that has a very broke mentality, like victim mentality, I'm not giving them a business host to post. Chances are they have a lot of friends like that too, and so they're getting a product post. But if I have someone that like maybe they're not interested in the business, but they're a really sweet, upbeat, happy person, they're always posting positive things, they're not spammy, they seem like they take good care of themselves, that's the people I'm giving business host to post to, because they probably are friends with people who are also happy, upbeat people that you would want to work with on your team. And so be super choosy with like what network you're throwing your business host to post out, because you don't want to business host supposed to be thrown out there in a network of people that are real negative, Debbie Downers, and then you get 20 comments and then you're sitting there, frustrated with those conversations. So
yeah, I've done that. And that's why I was saying I get so nervous when I do the business host to post, but I need to be picky. Like you said, I need to be picky about who I'm having do that, because I've had a lot of people comment and I go to their page and I'm like, oh no, no, it's not good. So yeah, definitely. What are you doing to train your newbies?
So I have like a really thorough like system in my team page where like all my leaders and all the way down, everybody knows like what to tag people in, but we just basically have really organized files. We have a first post example in the files. We have a second post example. We have a whole thread on our page of like my before and afters and other leaders before and afters on my team. Like our post, before we delete them off our Facebook, we put them in a thread. So that way later, if we have a newbie that's just having a really hard time learning what to say, they have this whole thread of all these posts I've done, all these posts that other leaders on my team have done. And it's not anything that's going to mess up with the algorithm because they're posts we've already deleted off our Facebooks anyways. So we keep that running post going. That's super duplicatable. All people have to do is just tag their people in that. And then we have like our pricing wording in the files, as well as like, the goals. Have you like seen the goals before? We have the goals in the files. And so the way I train my newbies is whenever they get started, they make their first post. Their first post ends with like a little paragraph that I have in the files that just basically says, like, if anyone's interested in helping me get started on my new journey, I'm in need of product testers. These product testers will use any one of my 50 plus products at my 40% off discount in exchange for their honest review and feedback. Please let me know ASAP if you'd be interested, or drop an emoji. And then so as those people are telling them like, hey, I'll help you out, or they're dropping an emoji or whatever, their next course of action is to message them, thanks so much for being willing to help me out. Take a look at these goals and let me know which of them stand out to you. And then I'll pair you with a product or products that accomplish those goals. And then that's super simple for everybody, whether you're one day in the business and you sign a distributor, or you're a diamond and you sign a distributor, you can walk your newbies through that. And then we have like the, whatever you call it, the responses for the goals, like paired up with it or whatever. So they know, like if someone says goal 3, that's greens or whatever, you know what I mean, or stretch mark green, they know what to say next. And then they have the pricing wording that explains the whole customer program. So we pretty much just keep it super simple. If they don't even make their first post, I'm not going to tag them in anything else. I think the number one way to overwhelm a newbie is to tag them in like 30 things their first day in the business. So my newbies get tagged in nothing but the welcome training and a first post example. That's it. I don't even tag them in the goals and the pricing wording and all that until I see that they actually make their first post. Because if they don't even make the first post, there's no sense in me tagging them in anything else. So that's the best thing I can say, is just keeping it super simple and like walking through with them at their own pace. I don't chase anybody, but I do check in and remind them. So like if it's been 3 days and they've made their first post, I'm going to check in and be like, hey girl, do you need my help writing your first post? I'd be happy to sit down and just help you write it. And then if they don't even answer that, I'm moving on. Like I'll be there to help. I might check in a week, but I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit there and check in, because ultimately, like, I mean, I've got a big team to take care of. And if I spend energy trying to like beg someone to work, I've got these people over here that really need me that aren't going to get the best of me because I'm expending energy where it's not even needed or fruitful, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Now, are you doing trainings? Do you have like a weekly training that you guys do, or are you doing any of that?
Yeah, so my team tunes into Claire, my enroller. We tune into like her whole team's weekly team trainings, and I help co-lead those. Myself and Claire's other Triple Diamond main leaders on her team, we all take a week, and then I do with my team as well separately, and we try to keep them at like 30 minutes. And then same thing with my team, I let like my doubles and my diamonds help out with those, so that way like my team's getting to hear from other leaders. They're not always just hearing from me, because the fact of the matter is even if they love me, even if I enroll them, they might connect really well with one of my doubles, or they might connect really well with a sideline leader on Claire's team, so I think it's super important to, kind of have just those different things that we're tuning into. But yeah, we tune into Claire's 30-minute weekly huddles, and then we have our own as well too.
I love that you and Claire are so tight knit like that, because Kelsey and I are like that too. Like we just started implementing the weekly trainings, and she has me ahead of that. But like I pick new people every week. It's on Sunday night, same time, so they're hearing from different people. But I love that even though you're presidential, you and Claire still work together as a team and like open it up to everyone and help everyone that way. I love that.
I think it's so important to like remember that like breaking away really, it doesn't serve your team better, like, and it doesn't really serve you better, because there's always going to be something they can learn from your enroller too, even if like you said, even if you're a presidential or an ambassador, like they can still learn things from them too. So the more help they get, the better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, one last question. Okay, so with it being the holidays, I'm getting mixed responses from like my distributors and other people on the team about, oh, it's the holidays. A lot of people are like, can't afford it. It's Christmas. What would you say if you had, like, if your team members are coming up to you and saying, oh, no one wants it. It's Christmas. They can't afford it. Like, what's your response to that?
I would tell them that's 100% in their head. And I have not experienced that at all. I just signed 2 distributors today and a customer last night. The past 2 years, so December, my first year, I was a ruby. December last year, I was a triple, were one of my highest enrolling months of the year. Actually, it's the exact opposite of what people say. Around Christmas, people are spending happy. They're going after work to the mall every day to get last minute presents. They're spending money left and right. Aside from back to school, this is the second month of the highest month of the year in America that people spend the most money. And so people are like spending more money for like more frivolously than they usually do all year long. And also it's getting close to New Year's. People are already starting to think about their New Year's goals. Obviously it's in like 3 weeks. And so if you're holding yourself back, if you're telling yourself that, you got to stop, because it's not true. And I look in eSuite every day and I can tell you right now, it's not true, because I'm seeing literally like, I looked this morning and like when I first woke up, I saw like 6 or 700+ BB orders from new people on my team. So if people don't want to spend money, I don't know where they're finding these people at. I think it's just, like I said, complete opposite. It's all a mindset thing. People are going to pick up what you're putting down. And so if you are acting like, oh, is this too much money for you? They're going to be like, oh yeah, it is too much money. Yeah, it is tied with holidays. But if you're acting like it's the best deal ever, and you're getting them a head start on their New Year's goals, like they're going to be so excited and they're going to go with you. It's all just how you're coming across. And then also I want to say, be prepared for right after Christmas, the 26th through the 31st. People just got Christmas money from their grandma, their mom, and they are so excited to spend it. They're ready to pay off debt that they've accumulated this year. They're ready to get started with a business. They're ready to get started on their New Year's health goals. So in my opinion, it booms all December long. But then I think especially that last week of the year, the last week of 2018, just get ready. If you're planting seeds diligently, you're not going to be able to keep up with it. It's going to be huge. So get out of your head and just know that people are very much spending happy right now.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I just wanted to ask you that so everyone could hear it, because so you joined in December, 2 years ago?
I joined in June 2 years ago,
okay.
Okay, so I just want to say this real quick. I joined in June. I signed my husband that month, but that's it, as a distributor, and 4 customers. Next month, 4 customers, 2 distributors. Next month, no distributors, and I think 9 customers. And then I had only ever signed 2 distributors a month from that point until December. In December, I signed 9 distributors, and I didn't cold message them or anything. These were 9 people that came out of the woodworks that were like, hey, I've been watching you forever. I really need to have a better year next year than I had this year. I'm ready to get started. What do I need to do? So December was such a huge month for me. And I think I signed 27 customers that month, my first year in the business. And then last year it was huge too. I think I welcomed 12 new distributors, and I want to say 32 customers. It was insane. So you can have the mindset that December is going to slow, and it'll be slow for you personally. But I promise you, for the people that know what December really holds, and they know that people are out there just like, all right, what else can I buy? They're rocking it out and finding customers. So you just have to flip that switch because your energy is absolutely contagious.
Yeah, for sure. And my first month in the business was 2 years ago in December, and I signed, I think, 24 customers my first month. Yeah. So I'm like, I signed 24 customers my first month, and it was December. So I'll never have that mindset. And I just don't understand like where people are even coming from. Cause you're right. Like next month's January, people want to get started on their goals, and it's just crazy. So yeah, it's in your head. Like December is going to be booming if you think it's going to be booming. So I just appreciate you so much for hopping on here. I know my team is just so grateful. When I put in the team chat that you were going to be on, they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. So they were super pumped, but I appreciate you. I hope you have a great December, and I'm going to see you at conference. I'm so excited.
I am so excited too. Thank you guys so much for having me. Do you mind if I share one last ending note with you guys?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I just want to share this with you guys because this is something that I have not always done right in my business. But if you feel like you're in a funk, or you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like maybe you're just not getting the results you want, like take a step back and like be super real with God and lay it all out on the table, like what you're asking of him. And I don't just mean like, Lord bless my business, like actually ask him like what you want. The months that I have included him in every step of the way with my business are the months that like everything's happening the way I want. But the months that I'm in my own head and I'm trying to do all these things and I'm not even like including him in the process, like those are the months when I'm stressed and I'm frazzled. And I wanted to just end with this story from 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, I felt like, obviously had an incredible month last month, and I wanted to make sure I was still getting those people off to a strong start and giving them what they need, but also like still carrying that momentum into this month with like really good quality people. And I just made my first host to post for the month 2 nights ago. So I hadn't really like started that up. And so I was praying, I was laying in bed, and I was just kind of stressed, not for really any good reason. And I was like, Lord, I was like, I would love so much if I can wake up in the morning and you just send me 2 people. I was like, I don't have to talk to 10 people. I don't have to sign 10 distributors tomorrow, but like, will you send me 2 people who are key players in my ambassador promotion, who are going to be like in crucial spots on my ambassador chart, people that I'm not expecting. Will you just send me these 2 people? I was like, I promise I will do everything that I need to do to be a leader to them. But like, will you just send me these 2 people? And some people would hear that prayer and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like you're acting like God's genie in the bottle, whatever. No, but like, I think he truly cares what we want. And when we come to him with like a pure heart and being genuine, like that makes all the difference in the world. So I prayed that prayer. I instantly felt this like anxiety lift, and I just laid my head down. It was like 3 a.m, went to sleep. Next morning, I wake up with a message from someone that I had never spoken to a day in my life, who I just added on Facebook beginning of last month. And she sent me a message and said, hey, I've been following you this last month ever since you added me. Can you please tell me what you do? I just can't get out of my head. She signed last night. And then around lunchtime, and we had like a great phone call, like she's going to be a rock star on my ambassador team. Like, I just know she is. I'm so excited. Like, she just literally shared with me on the phone, like, I've been praying for something like this, and then you added me as a friend. And I immediately could tell it was so different than anything else I've ever tried before. And then around lunchtime yesterday, I got a message from one of my little customers who's never asked me about the business before. Never has asked me about the business a day in her life. She's been a customer for about 7 months, never turned her auto shipment off, like, loves the products. She sent me a message and was like, okay, girl, here's the deal. I've tried selling plexus before. I've tried other stuff, just couldn't get behind it. Didn't even really like the products, but you know, I am obsessed with your product. She was like, I love you and can tell you're a genuine leader who loves their people. Can I go ahead and sign up and join your team? I know we've never talked about it, but I've been praying and I'm ready. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And she signed first thing this morning. So that was those 2 people that I specifically prayed about. And I know, like, not always when we pray very specific prayers is God can answer right that second. Like, sometimes he does make us wait, or we like, there's a process. But I share that to say, like, I was anxious that night for not really good reason. I could have just gotten in my own head and just been stressed and had a restless night. But instead, I was like, take a step back. I'm like, I'm just going to come lay it all out. Lay it all down at the feet of Jesus and just ask him like what I want, and ask him to just like take this anxiety away. And he did. And like the next day there was those 2 people. And I firmly believe like these 2 people are exactly who I prayed for. And so anyways, I just wanted to share that because I know, like, if you have been feeling like you're just not having the results you want, it's really easy to just wallow in that stress. But sometimes all we need is just to go before him and just be like, Lord, like, I'm willing to work just show me what to do and just bless my efforts. I'll put in the work. And so, yeah, just wanted to share that.
So much. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. I know everyone on here is just loving it. Thank you, Brittani. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, thank you. We're just so appreciative.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, guys.